Hey guys, welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm Shelby, and today I think we've got a pretty fun episode. At least I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's gonna be fun because I'm gonna be eating some hopefully yummy treats. This I want to start maybe like a little series where I make some sort of food that has to go along with like a book that I read, and hopefully I can do that, make that food, and then discuss the books, and I think it sounds fun. I hope you also think it sounds fun. So let's get into the video. I recently just finished the Getting Lucky series by Meghan Quinn. There's 4 books in this series. I listened to all of them actually on audio because they're on Kindle Unlimited, and they were with Kindle Unlimited. Some of them you can also like listen to them when you borrow the book. I don't know what it's called, but if you have Audible, you can like just go back in between. Not all of their books do that. But I saw that these did, and I had read a Meghan Quinn book before, and I was honestly really disappointed in it, and I wanted to like it more because I liked Meghan Quinn's writing style. So I decided to give this a try. Like I said, there's 4 books in the series. The first one is That Second Chance. So getting into the like food element of this, I decided I'm gonna make fudge today because this book series is about 4 brothers, and their parents own this like bake shop almost. They sell mostly fudge. That's kind of what they're known for, is that their dad makes all these different kind of fudge concoctions. So they sell that, but they also sell like baked goods, but then it's also kind of like a touristy like souvenir type shop for their town. So that's what I decided I'm going to be making today. I am kind of making my own recipe. We'll see how it goes, just because I couldn't find a fudge recipe that I liked, that I was like in the mood for, and or if I did find one, I didn't have all the ingredients, and I'm kind of a lazy person, and I just wanted to use what I already have in my house. I didn't really feel like going out to the grocery store and getting a bunch of stuff. So I had some blackberry, frozen blackberries on hand that I had in my fridge and were already thawed. So I decided I'm making some blackberry fudge. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so before we get into the recipe, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the books are about, and then we'll do the recipe, I'll kind of eat, and then I'll tell you my thoughts, I think, at the end. Like I said, so there's 4 books. The first book is That Second Chance, and this one is about the oldest brother. It kind of starts out the tone of the series. It's about, there's like a prologue where the 4 brothers are in New Orleans celebrating their youngest brother. He just turned 21, and so they're all drunk doing kind of like shenanigans, and they end up running into like a fortune teller, and they break her like table that she does her work at, something like that. And they're being kind of jerks to her because they're drunk, and she ends up putting a curse on them that their love would be broken. So that's the premise of the story. The first one, the brother, his name is Griffin. Yes, Griffin. And he doesn't really believe in this curse because he's already married and it's great. But then when they get back to their hometown after this vacation, 3 days later, his wife unexpectedly passes away. So fast forward, then there's this girl, Wren. She is new to this town. She's coming in because she in the past was in like a really bad car accident, and she's wanting to just kind of get a hold of her life. She wants to prove to herself that that accident that happened to her isn't going to define her for the rest of her life, that she can go out and be on her own and be independent and do what she wants and still be thriving and survive and be successful. So she moves into this hometown, but on her way into the town, driving in, she comes across this moose that comes like across the road, and so then she like swerves and she gets into an accident. Not as bad as her one before. I think she only gets like a scratch on her head, maybe something like that, and like a minor concussion, so nothing like too terrible. But Griffin is a firefighter in the town, so he comes out on the call, like 911 call, to rescue her, and that's kind of how they meet. And it's really cute. You know, Griffin is kind of not really sure because, you know, his wife died. He doesn't want anything to, he feels that he's cursed because, you know, this gypsy, or not gypsy, fortune teller lady, you know, cursed him, so he doesn't want anything bad to happen to Ren if he gets too close to her. But anyway, it's about their story, and it kind of sets up the town. And then the second book, That Forever Girl. So this is about the next brother. His name is Rogan, and he is kind of seen as this like jerk around town. He's really curmudgeon-y, and for the most part it's because he had some things happen to him in the past. This book is a second chance romance, and it's about Harper, to his like past love. She ends up coming back into the town because she had been away for a while, and that kind of throws Rogan for a loop. He doesn't really know what to think because he's still in love with her. So this one, it kind of goes back and forth between the past and how they met. They ended up growing up together and being like best friends forever, and then they ended up becoming a little bit more. They started a relationship and they went off to college together, but he ended up, and they did get engaged actually, but he ended up breaking things off with her because he got into this accident and he ended up losing his leg, which he was a football player, just a kind of backstory. So he's in college playing football, but because in this accident where he lost part of his leg, he can't play football anymore, so he kind of doesn't really know what to do with his life because that was his whole plan, and he's, you know, mad, so he ends up pushing Harper away and they end up breaking up. So all this time he's just kind of been, you know, again, curmudgeon-y and mad, and then Harper comes back in and they don't get along because of, you know, he broke up with her and hurt her, and they're kind of fighting, but they're trying to get along because there are these like scouts in their town for, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a Hallmark like knockoff, but you know, she can't really say like Hallmark, but that's what it is. These people from Hallmark are coming into the town to scout it, to try to maybe use it as a filming location for one of their movies, and they hire Harper because she knows the town to find all these different places in the town that would be perfect for a lot of the scenes for the movies. And Rogan actually is now in like real estate, I think. He owns a lot of the properties in the town and like rents places out or sells different places. So a lot of the places she's wanting to use and think will be perfect for this movie, he owns. So she has to interact with him a lot to make sure that it's okay, that they use these locations for filming, that, you know, different things, that they keep things how he wants them to be, blah, blah, blah. So they end up interacting a lot with each other and trying to like reconcile their past and potentially become friends again. So yeah, so it's about their kind of romance. The third one is That Secret Crush. So then this is the third brother. His name is Reed. This is about when they were in New Orleans. Reed had, right before that, had started with his best friend like a restaurant in Boston, and this is his like lifelong dream to have. But then right after they get cursed in New Orleans, he gets a phone call from his partner that this woman that they had hired on to help with their like finances was like screwing them over, and she ended up clearing out their bank accounts and taking all their money, and so then their restaurant failed. So he's kind of also kind of curmudgeon-y, not as much as Rogan, but he's, you know, ticked off and he feels like a failure. And then his best friend has a twin who is in the town, and her name's Eve. And Reed's always had a crush on Eve, and then you find out that Eve has also always had a crush on Reed, and they end up having a fling and getting together. But then his dad, Reed's dad, who also owns the like Fudge bakery kind of shop, decides he wants to open a restaurant in the town, and he wants his son Reed to basically run the whole thing and prepare food, but he wants him to partner up with his best friend again. But after those things happened, they kind of like split ways. They weren't really talking to each other that much. But during all of this, he decides not to tell Eve about his problems and about his dad wanting to open up a restaurant, because he kind of feels like, you know, what if it goes wrong? He doesn't want to bother Eve. So there's some problems that happen, but again, so it's their romance. And then the last one is called That Swoony Feeling. So this is about the youngest brother. His name is Brig. And this one, Brig is somebody that believes in romance. His whole like goal in life is to fall in love and get married and be a husband, be a doting husband, have kids. That is what he wants. So he's always in the other books trying to find love and trying to get with people, but he's kind of clueless. He doesn't know there's a like coffee shop, I think, in town that is owned by, what's her name? Ruth. Owned by Ruth. And Ruth has always been infatuated with Brig all of her life, and all of the town knows this except for Brig. So they decide there's this like program that one of the people in the town is going to start up to try to help match couples, like get kind of like a matchmaker service through like pen pals. So Brig is like all for this. He's like, yes, I want to do this because I want to find my soulmate and I want to find love. So he ends up matching with Ruth, but he doesn't know that he's matched with Ruth. And Ruth at the very beginning didn't know until she read his letter that she got matched with Brig, but she knew from the get-go that it was him. And like I said, she's always had this crush on Brig, but she's really shy and gets really nervous around him. So she's never like come out and told him that she likes him. But then she's wanting to start up a new business as well. She's wanting to start up like a tea shop kind of business. And there ends up being a location right next to Brig's shop. So Brig actually owns a like automobile shop. I don't really know what you would call it. Where he like fixes up like cars and whatnot. So there's the space opening right next to his shop. And because of that, and she's getting this space, he ends up interacting with her a little bit more, and he's like, hey, I can like help you renovate your space and we can become neighbors, and then we can like give discounts when your shop opens. You know, you can give discounts for my place and I can give discounts for your place, kind of help each other out. And so they end up becoming friends during this process because he's helping her out with a lot of stuff. But then everybody's trying to like push them together because they know that Ruth really likes him, but she doesn't want to she's afraid to be more like outgoing and tell him, just in case for whatever reason he doesn't want to be with her and he just wants to be friends with her. She doesn't want to like ruin that. So yeah, so anyway, it ends up being about them having a romance. So those are the books. So now I'm going to get into the bit talking, you know, doing my recipe that I'm kind of sort of making on my own. We'll kind of, like I said, see how it turns out. But again, I decided to do blackberry fudge because that's kind of the ingredients that I had around. And like I said, we're gonna see how this turns out. So get back to you in a second when I am eating the yummy fudge. Okie dokie. So I have all my ingredients. So I have 2 bowls to melt the chocolate in. I have I believe it's an 8x8 dish to put the fudge in. I have blackberries that I've already pureed. This is from my baby bullet that I used to puree my daughter's foods when she was starting out on food. So I just used it for this. And I have some sweetened condensed milk, and then some semi-sweet chocolate chips, which I'm just gonna finish up this bag that I have. And then I have a little bit of like white chocolate. So let's get started making some fudge. Okay, so I've got my semi-sweet chocolate chips in the bowl, and then I just opened my can of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm gonna pour at least half of this in here. Yeah, I think I've poured just kind of eyeballing it. Maybe like 2/3 of this to 3/4, somewhere on there, of this can I poured into here. And then I'm gonna take my spatula and just kind of mix it together a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this in the microwave and get it all melty. Okay, now the chocolate's all like melty, and then now I'm gonna add my pureed blackberries to it. And I pureed about a cup of blackberries. I think I'm gonna add maybe half of this, half of the blackberry puree in with the chocolate. That way the chocolatey bit is gonna taste a little bit like blackberries. Okay, then we're just gonna pour this into the baking dish. Just kind of flops out of there. And then I'm just gonna flatten this out in this baking dish. Get it all like even. Now I'm just going to put all of the white chocolate in a bowl and add the rest of the sweetened condensed milk. Now the white chocolate is all melted. Now I'm just gonna dollop the white chocolate on top of the regular semi-sweet chocolate. Just gonna dollop it throughout if I can. Well, I might just pour this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pour this instead. I'm gonna try to do the best that I can to spread this evenly over. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the blackberry puree. And then I'm going to take a toothpick and just kind of like swirl this around. So then this is going to go in the fridge for I think about 30 minutes or so. Okay, I've just taken this out of the fridge and I'm going to take it out of this container and then use this extra pointy knife of mine to cut it into squares. Okie dokie, so now I'm gonna try my fudge. It's really good. It's very chocolatey, which since it's chocolate fudge, that's what, you kind of want it to be. So, yeah, so there's my little bit with making some fudge. I also made myself a cup of hot cider. Probably should have gone with like hot tea or maybe even hot chocolate. I think that would have gone better with the fudge, and also because they make tea and coffee and hot chocolate like in the books. But I had some little like Keurig K-cups for hot cider and it smells so good, so I decided to do that. Anyway, so we're going to, I guess, get into the discussion part of this video. So like I said, I read all of these books. I was kind of all over the place with how I liked them and with my ratings of them. The lowest I went was 2 stars, and then I did end up giving one of them 5 stars, which I'm kind of on the fence with that, if I want to do it 5 stars or do it a little bit lower. I can't really decide. I don't know. Anyway, so I really like the first one. I think I gave that maybe like 4 stars or so. I thought it was really good. I liked the romance in it. I thought it was really sweet. I liked Ren and Griffin's banter, and for the most part, I just liked Meghan Quinn's kind of writing style. It's just, it vibes really well with me, and I think it's really funny. It was very entertaining. Yeah, so I liked it. I don't really have too much like to say per se about it. I just really liked it, and I thought the romance was really cute and sweet, and you know, it took a little bit because a little bit of pushing almost, because Griffin didn't really want to form a relationship with Ren, even though he really liked her, just because, you know, his wife died, and he doesn't, you know, he feels like he is cursed. So his whole thing was, if I start a relationship with Ren, then something's going to happen to her and it's going to be my fault, and he doesn't want to live with something happening to Ren because he likes her so much. So I mean, I think that was really cute. I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, like, you know, it's not real. Things just happen, and you can't prevent yourself from living your life just because you're afraid that something bad is going to happen, because something bad always is. That's just part of life. So then the second one with that Forever Girl, that one, they were giving me like 3 stars. It was okay, mostly just because I'm not a big fan of second chance romances. They're just, I don't know, they're fine. They're just not my style. I don't really care, because half of the book was like just building their relationship and kind of showing like the before what happened. And I mean, I did really like Harper because she wasn't taking Rogan's crap, and I was like, you shouldn't, because he was awful to you and he deserves to grovel. But it was fine. Nah. The third one, Secret Crush, that one I actually only gave 2 stars to. It was my least favorite out of all of the books, and I didn't really care for Reed in the other books anyway as a character, but I really did not like him in this book, and that's mostly why I gave it 2 stars, because I just could not stand him. He just didn't have any like confidence, and he kept things secret from Eve. I'm trying to remember all these character names. He kept things secret from Eve and kind of omitted things. Like, he never really outright lied to her, but he still wasn't honest and truthful with her, which I really hate when books do that. If there's any kind of like miscommunication or just not communicating in general in a relationship in books, I don't like it. It's probably one of my least favorite things that authors can put in their books. And so I really didn't like that. I liked Eve, and honestly, I thought, because Reed could be kind of a jerk sometimes, and Eve just kind of put up with it. He says constantly throughout the book that she is a saint, and I 100% agree with that. Eve puts up with a lot of stuff and forgives him for a lot of things, and I'm just like, okay. I just kept losing my patience with him, and I was like, I don't understand, Eve, why you're still like putting up with this. Like, he just irritated the crap out of me. And for the most part, their sex scenes in it were pretty steamy. I liked their banter together. That was nice. But I had to give it 2, because I just kept getting so angry at Reed during this book, and I just wanted him to stop. And I was just, by the end of it, I was just done, and I just wanted the book to be over because I couldn't stand him. So that's why I gave that one a 2 star. So I don't know. The last one though, that one I'm on the fence. I ended up putting 5 stars for it, and when I put it on Goodreads, I don't know, I may do 4.5 stars. I can't decide, because I thought this was really cute. I was dying for Brig's story from the other books, because he's like the younger brother, and he just he's kind of a lovable idiot. And you definitely find that out in this book. He is definitely a cinnamon roll. He's so freaking sweet. but he is so idiotic. Like, it's 100% obvious that Ruth likes him, and she ends up like blatantly putting this out her, even though she doesn't ever actually come out and just outright say, I like you, but she like starts wearing like skimpier outfits and like flaunting more skin to him, and then she ends up like purposefully, like kind of on accident, but like purposefully like putting her boobs like in his face and like trying to touch him more and hug him, and he's still just, and then she also in her pen pal like letters will say things in them, and then like in person when they're talking she'll say the exact same things, and he still has no idea that his pen pal person he's forming a relationship with is this girl that he's, you know, best friends with. And I'm just like, how do you not understand? And the whole town thinks he's an idiot, and he is, but he's, you know, he's sweet and he's a lovable idiot. And that part I found kind of irritating, but for the most part I really liked this, and I liked him again for the most part as a character. And at the end of it, because you know he's a dummy and screws things up with Ruth, and he has to like make it up to her and get her to forgive him. And the way that Meghan Quinn writes this out is like totally a scene from like a Swoony, like heartsick kind of like Hallmark movie-esque kind of scene. It's so freaking sweet, and I was in tears. I was crying because it was so sweet. And it's definitely, you know, this is called the Swoony, that Swoony feeling. This was definitely like, that's a perfect title for this book. It was so swoony, and I loved that. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence because it's definitely more than a 4-star, but I'm not 100% sure. Usually I leave my 5 stars for books that I just like, I keep thinking about and I keep remembering, and it's just like there's no wrongs in it. So I don't know, we'll see. I may bump it down to 4.5 stars. I can't decide. Or even if I do, it may be like months from now, and when I'm like, I don't remember the plot of that book, so obviously it doesn't need 5 stars, but we'll see. So that's kind of my little thoughts on the Getting Lucky series by Meghan Quinn. I did really overall enjoy the series, so I think, you know, it's one that you should definitely pick up because it was really cute, and I loved the town. The town was so cute. If you like small town romances, you'll probably like these books. I really liked that a bunch of the people in the town were just like small business owners, and everybody in the town was trying to help each other out with their businesses to be successful, and they were trying to, you know, get this movie people to come to the town and film in their town because that'll bring more people into their town to help them all be successful. I really liked that aspect of it, and I wasn't sure if I would. I'm not super into or big into reading like small town romance kind of stories, but I really like this one. So I think it is a pretty good book series to kind of pick up and try out. And Meghan Quinn is somebody that I keep having like hits and misses with her, so I think I'm gonna keep trying to read some of her books to see if I can keep finding hits. But yeah, so those are all my thoughts, and I will definitely leave the link for, I'm gonna end up just like kind of writing my own recipe because I ended up kind of like combining tons of different recipes together and making my own, but I will leave that down below in the description box if you want to make this fudge recipe on your own. And I hope to, you know, maybe continue this series and make some more different like goody yumminess and talk about more books. So thank you all for joining me. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and then I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys!